3, 2, 1. You ready?
Listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We are the Real Pineapple. This is Hunter, and I'm here with Colin. Colin, how you doing, sir?
I'm okay. I don't know. How are you, Hunter? How are we doing?
So I don't know. And I'm going to be honest, guys. So we're talking about just some of the... So we were going to talk about this last week, and I'll be honest, after doing Thor, and if only, after reviewing Thor, which we'll have up tomorrow, and then having, well, it'll be up by the time you hear this, and then reviewing a couple other things, we didn't have time really to talk about this, but there is yet another fucking sexual, I guess you say sexual, not, I guess say sexual, like, I don't want to get this wrong. I guess you say sexual, not assault?
Well, I think it's assault is what, so today's Thursday, the 9th of November, and today the New York Times posted a story about Louis C.K. that's been added to the very prevalent news stories of Kevin Spacey and Harvey Weinstein. And sexual misconduct is the wording the New York Times used for Louis C.K. So he is accused of sexual misconduct by 5 women.
I'm going to be straight up, just to get this out of the way. Stranger Things Season 2 is really great. We'll have a review up for that.
Just random.
I'm saying that, man, because honestly, I'm so depressed reading all this shit.
Yeah.
Like, it, dude, so...
Well, if you want to hear something creepy about Stranger Things Season 2, and you've seen the whole thing, and you know what happens at the end, I watched the special features, or not the special features, but the Beyond Stranger Things that Netflix put out, where they kind of interview the Duffner brothers. And there was one part that was really creepy, and I guess people freaked out on Twitter as well, where they kind of made one of the girls kiss one of the other young actors, and she wasn't briefed about it beforehand, her parents weren't informed, but they just made her do it on set like multiple times of the day of the shoot, and apparently it's just like, it was really uncomfortable. The Duffner brothers were like a little creepy about it. So I don't know, it's coming in waves, and it's coming in all shapes and forms is all I'm saying. But other than that, I love Stranger Things too.
This is the thing, this is not the time to be fucking up. I'm just gonna tell you right now, like, if seriously, like, dude, I wouldn't even whistle at a girl walking down the street if I was in Hollywood right now, because it is, dude, it is witch hunt season right now. And let me clarify.
Well, maybe.
This is okay. So let's just kind of jump in here. So this all started with Harvey Weinstein, which I'm going to be totally honest with you. The Weinstein Company has always just been a shit company in the sense of the way they screw over artists and producers and writers. Like, so Harvey Weinstein's always been a creep. It wasn't something that even close to shocked me. It was like, oh, okay, cool, they took him down, good, he's a piece of shit. Brett Ratner, same thing. I remember reading part of Olivia Munn's book, and she mentions, without naming him, Brett Ratner. So Brett Ratner, I get, if memory serves, like, called her to his trailer and like jerked off in front of her. I'm like, oh, yeah,
that's the trend. That's the most bizarre thing about a lot of this, is that dudes like with power in Hollywood just like jerking off in front of actresses.
Yeah, it's really fucking creepy. Like
that's the same allegation.
Who does that?
It's crazy.
And so now we get to, so this is the one that hit me the hardest, I'll be honest. So Kevin Spacey.
His is a whole different animal.
It is.
Like Harvey Weinstein, the dude with Olivia Munn, and then Louis C.K., they're all the same. They're all sexual misconduct with a bunch of accusations of jerking off in front of like female actresses or people in the industry. And then Kevin Spacey is... So you just told me we were going to talk about this a little bit ago, and I started reading the allegations towards him, And his is a lot different. His are a lot older, too, like a long time ago.
So, this is what's insane. And I shared this on my Facebook the other day, and I really think we need to keep this in mind. These are accusations. Let's just
all this is allegedly. No one's been convicted of any crimes here. So you can't... This is all alleged.
And I think that's important because...
it's important for us to say for legal reasons.
Yeah, that too.
It's 100% important for us to say that.
But I will say, though, one thing that I think people forget is that... And this is where I'm torn, Colin. So I'm gonna be really, and I'll be honest, guys. I don't have anything prepared on this. I'm really just speaking from, my heart here. And so if I just lose my way, I apologize. But
I'll try and reel you in. I'll keep you close to earth.
I appreciate that. But you're great at doing that, by the way. But I think at times we're very quick to go the guilty until proven innocent route as opposed to the other way around. Like, these are just accusations. Right. I think people want to be right so much that the moment it's an accusation, we go, oh, yep, like they did it. So I think we need to be really careful about that.
Okay, but there's a difference between, like, first hearing someone's accused of something and then making a judgment to, like, reading all of the evidence and kind of being, like, a juror of yourself. Like... Yeah, no one's been convicted of any crimes, but you can still kind of make your own judgment as a peer of this person, given the evidence that you're presented, right?
No, I agree. Now, like I said, Harvey Weinstein didn't even, bat an eye. But I mean, let's be honest. I mean, this even goes back to a couple months ago. Bill O'Reilly, who I have said very unkind things about. He fucking sucks, but.
He's Papa Bear for Stephen Colbert, I thought.
Yeah, he was. But, dude, remember, what was it? O'Reilly paid that one girl $32 million. I was like, oh my god! Like, you don't pay someone $32 million unless you're guilty as shit. Sorry. Yeah. And but it's funny because I thought back to our Boo 2 review that we just put out a couple weeks ago.
Dude.
And how you said, like. How you said verbatim, like, oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I didn't point any fingers or make any accusations, but I just said, isn't it funny that all this is going on? Like, like, let's all think about that for a second. In regards to Tyler Perry, and no one would be surprised. At least I wouldn't. After watching movies like Boo and Boo 2. Like, I just wouldn't be surprised if there was something to come out about him. I'm not making any accusations. Trust me. I'm just saying, wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, because at this point, man, I guess... So Kevin Spacey, man, honestly, I can truly say with no conviction that he is probably one of the people who got me inspired by film originally. I remember the first time I watched Usual Suspects and Seven.
Totally. Both of those, yeah.
And dude, you go back to even, Glenn Ross, you go to Pay It Forward, he was just in Baby Driver. Horrible Bosses he was awesome in.
Yeah.
And I'm not
none of those are better. The best is Usual Suspects. You said the best one first. And, the other best one, I think, is American Beauty. But that one's a little creepy now, definitely. That's the most creepy of all of them now.
Yeah, and honestly, it's funny you mentioned that, because if memory serves, he won an Oscar for that.
Oh, yeah. The movie starts with him, like, jerking off in the shower.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, he's, like... the only thing that would have made that more relevant to today's topics is if it was a young boy instead of the young girl.
Oh, fuck.
Because that's how it was in real life, apparently, according to the accusations. Allegedly.
Yeah, of course. So let's tackle Kevin Spacey first. He was accused by, and I had the guy's name up. Anthony. Motherfucker.
Anthony Motherfucker. I know that
guy. But he was accused by the guys on Star Trek Discovery now.
Yeah, right. I know who you're talking about. He's like
Anthony
the main.
Rapp, pardon me.
Yeah, and it was back when he was like 14, right? So it was like, and Kevin Spacey was only 25, something like that, long time ago.
Yeah.
Is when he's saying the accusations were from.
So I'll be honest, like, the fact that he said, oh, this was 30 years ago, I kind of went, all right, 30 years ago, I mean, okay. I mean, it could have happened, but, you know. But then all these accusations came out from people on the set of House of Cards, like, as of 3 years ago, saying, oh, yeah, he would, like, grope me and shit. I'm like, okay, fuck, really?
Yeah.
So
there's a lot. I mean, the news article that I read before we started recording was like a summation of all of the accusations, and it gave little snippets of the most important parts from each one. And I mean, it was shocking the number of people that did come forward, and all of the stories were different, but they were kind of the same, you know, type of like a younger boy. There was one with a girl though that was like a lot different. Dude, he's just like, if all of these are true, and they're all alleged, of course, but like, dude, like, didn't care sex, like, gender, you know, race. That, like, Kevin, say what you will about Kevin Spacey, but he was an everyman. He was for everyone.
So So did you read the tweet that Kevin Spacey sent out after the accusation?
What does it say?
Oh, so this is just what sunk him from jump. This is what you pay publicists for. So I'm reading this verbatim. This is what he said.
Uh-huh.
I have a lot of respect and admiration for Anthony Rapp as an actor. I'm beyond horrified to hear his story.
Uh-huh.
I honestly do not remember the encounter. It would have been over 30 years ago. But if I did behave then, as he describes, I owe him the sincerest apology for what would have been deeply inappropriate drunken behavior.
Dude.
And I'm... it's still going. And I am sorry for the feelings he describes having carried with him all these years. This story has encouraged me to address other things about my life. I know that there are some stories about me, and that some have been fueled by the fact that I have been so protective of my privacy. As those closest to me know, in my life, I have had relationships with both men and women. I have loved and had romantic encounters with men throughout my life, and I choose now to live as a gay man. I want to deal with this honestly and openly, and that starts with examining my own behavior.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not a great tweet. Like, if you know you're about to enter like some kind of legal battle or some kind of PR nightmare, like, it's a bad tweet. Not that he's like coming out of the closet, but more that he's just like not adamantly denying anything. He's just like, well, it might have happened if I was drunk, and if it did, you know, I'm sorry. Like, you just deny if you're going down the route of saying you didn't do it.
And the fact that he came out in the same tweet, I'm like, dude, not the time to do. Like,
that tweet.
I read. I thought it was a joke. To be honest, I thought it was like a hack account. I was like, there is no way he put this out, and that was a good idea. And dude, if I was his publicist, I would have probably passed out and been like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, I think they just fired him. That's what they did.
Yeah. Because let's get this out of the way. There is no way to spin this.
No.
This isn't some Mel Gibson shit where he calls a girl, you know, sugar tits, and, you know, 7 years later he's back in Hollywood. He's done.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey's done. There's no way he comes back from this. There's not.
I think it's the same with Louis C.K. Actually, they're not even premiering his movie anymore. He was supposed to be on Stephen Colbert tonight. All that got canceled this morning. Like, they're done, dude. There's no coming back from this type of shit. I mean, like Kevin Spacey, certainly. Like, if you have like one of the biggest shows on an entire network, like if you call Netflix a network, and they just cancel it abruptly because of you and allegations against you, dude, you're done.
Yeah, so they legit are so they were starting filming of season 6, and now it's on hiatus till after Thanksgiving. So Netflix,
and he's not in it for sure. They're like replacing him with somebody.
So Netflix legit has basically said, we've got two options. We're either going to cancel the show entirely, which I think would be a shame because that means that those men and women are out of work, which fucking sucks. Or they're going to kill them off screen and go the spin-off route, which they've discussed. So either way, like, and I think that's what angers me so much about this man is, look, as someone who, got into movies really young. I mean, I remember Terminator when I was 4. That's one of the first movies I remember seeing. Terminator 2, pardon me. Actually, I saw both, but I remember seeing 7, I think when I was 9, and just thinking, holy shit, this is one of the craziest, most brilliant things I've ever seen. And Usual Suspects, which came out the same fucking year. I mean, Kevin Spacey's, he's been that actor. I can just go, man, like, I can always depend on him to, unless he's playing a cat, but I can always depend on him.
He's great when he's playing a cat, let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly. I can always depend on him to, have a great performance. And honestly, man, this would be like if I found out, like, Pee Wee Herman was, like, fucking little kids. Like, I know that's, like, kind of random, but
he was jerking off in a porno theater.
But you know what? I'm okay. At least he was just only hurting himself. I mean, he wasn't, like, jerking off on kids,
yeah. But doesn't that doesn't that set a good, like, comparison of, like, remember when people freaked out about that? People freaked out that it was Pee Wee Herman, and it found out he was just in a, minding his own business in a porno theater, just jerking off as one does, and he got in huge trouble for that. And these dudes are like, they have multiple people being like, yeah, like, he jerked off in front of me and I did not say that was okay. Ever.
But dude, that's where we are, and God, this is why I love recording with you, man. You bring the wisdom. I mean, honestly though, I remember being a kid, people lost their minds about that back in, I think it was like 93 when that happened. But now people be like, oh, he jerked off in a theater or whatever, but he wasn't trying to fuck a 14-year-old or something like that.
It's just gotten so much worse.
Dude, and honestly, man, I think, I don't know if you remember, but almost about a year ago, when we were talking about Straight Outta Compton, and we reviewed that, which is a great movie, and I talked about the Oscars and how I'm really sick of very little black representation, and saying that, hey, black people aren't being recognized for, out of roles that we're not typecast in, women aren't being paid the same as men. I remember saying, this Oscar so white conversation, it's going to open the floodgates to Hollywood, and there's going to be some really big examinations. And I'll be honest with you, I thought it would take like a decade. I didn't think it would come this quick, because now Hollywood in general, just when it was created, I mean, let's face it, even back, when film became super big, 40s, 50s, from jump, systematically, it's been broken. You had white people doing blackface and shit like that, and women, getting smacked on film. I mean, it's
the
been
first
a broken...
the first blockbuster, like, of all time was Birth of a Nation.
Yeah,
I mean, it's built on the back of, corrupt, racist type of, power involved.
Yeah, I mean, the system has been broken. Like, the foundation was broken when it was built. I mean, let's call it what it is. So, I mean, we've talked about it here on the podcast. Change is hard. Change is unpleasant. And there's a lot of change coming. I mean, this is, I mean, the Harvey Weinstein accusations, 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's all super near each other.
Yeah, and let's not get it twisted. And I totally forgot Jeffrey Tambor from fucking Arrested Development and Transparent. He is accused of sexual misconduct. Like, it's been a fucking snowball that is just gathering all the shit in the world. Now,
can we talk real quick? Just, sorry to interrupt, but I just want to think, because we were comparing it to, like, Pee Wee Herman, and, like, not to get too off topic, I don't want to go talking about this too much, but, like, this is crazy, and this is shaking up Hollywood, but, like, this isn't... Can you just remember when you first heard about, like, Jerry Sandusky at Penn State and, like, Joe Paterno? Like, that was the ultimate. That was, like, the ultimate, like, craziest, like, spotlight type of journalism discovery, like, I've ever heard. I mean, this is tame compared to that, but this is still super gnarly, and it's clearly affected people. Not quite the same, but just more perspective, thinking about like how crazy it can get.
So it's crazy that you bring that up. I remember I grew up in Pismo Beach, California. There's a gas station right by not a gas station. There's a car wash right by Mongo's, and I remember it might still be there. I haven't been to Pismo Beach in years, but I remember as a kid, this guy trying to kidnap me when I was like 8, and it's still probably the most horrified I've ever fucking been. And I remember my dad chasing the guy down with a fucking baseball bat, and I remember just thinking about the Penn State shit when it came out, thinking, oh my god, those poor fucking kids. When we reviewed Spotlight, I remember I almost broke down on the review because just thinking about what those kids had to even fucking deal with.
Yeah, obviously that's probably the biggest journalism like uncovering of a story ever, right? Spotlight.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I would say so. And dude, there was a church in fucking, I think it was in like Santa Barbara that had priests doing. Like it's insane. And when you think about the scope of this, I mean, it really, it goes back to it being systematic. And I just, I don't know where this. Sorry, I just don't even know. The problem is there's not a simple answer for this. There's not just do this and then everything goes away.
Yeah. Well, I think bringing light on it, like I think this is like a good first step, right? Like just putting light on it gives victims more of like an outlet to get strength to go step forward, right? So it makes predators not like they don't feel as safe anymore, which is like that's a good thing, right?
I couldn't agree with you more. I remember a bunch of people, using the hashtag #MeToo a couple weeks ago, and look, most of my friends, are female, and I remember just being genuinely disturbed by how many of my friends were hashtagging that. It's like, oh my god, like, I was just watching Donald Glover's stand-up Weirdo, and he mentions in stand-up how he always has to walk, girls always ask him to walk them to their car because they're afraid of getting raped. And when he brought that up, I went, yeah, that's something I never, as men, we don't really think about that. I mean, yeah, men get raped, but it's
unless
not,
you're very petite, but,
Yeah, but it's...
or if you're in prison.
Yeah, I mean, but... that's not like that's not as big of an issue with us as it is with women. And if you're right, if anything good comes out from this, it's that women and men too that have been assaulted hopefully feel like now they can, get, share their stories and help deal with this. I mean, but I just...
It sucks it has to happen to people I love. I think that's the thing that I'm most conflicted with, where I'm just like, God, did it have to be Kevin Spacey and Louis C.K.? Because I liked them both. I just liked what they did. Like now, I'm looking at my Baby Driver Blu-ray right now, and it's just a big old picture of Kevin Spacey, and I'm just like, well, I hope you kept your hands off of Ansel Elgort. You don't touch Baby.
Yeah.
And I say that jokingly, but like I hope that actually isn't like something that comes out later. But I mean, but that's just like a thought that I have in my head forever now. And it's with things like House of Cards. Like I wasn't the biggest House of Cards fan, but I watched the first couple seasons. Like I appreciated how good it was. I love these old movies that you've already talked about, and Louis C.K., dude, like I've listened to every one of his stand-up.
Me too.
Like so many times. I loved his show. You were a big Lucky Louie fan, actually. Before I even knew who Louis C.K. was, you were the first fan of him.
Yeah, so crazy. HBO, and I actually I turned on my PS4 just to confirm it. HBO has pulled all of his stuff off HBO Go already.
Man, dude, his career's over, dude. He's done. Yeah. He's done.
Yeah.
What a day. He might kill himself. He talks about suicide in his stand-up.
Yeah.
Like, that dude would do it.
Like, I haven't checked Netflix to see, because, I mean, he just came out with a stand-up special this year, 2017. They might pull that shit by tomorrow.
Oh, man. I'm praying for that guy. I mean, like, obviously he did some fucked up shit, but, like, you know, allegedly, we don't really know, but, like, he's getting the book thrown at him, and he hasn't been proven of anything, to your point. You know, I read the entire New York Times article about Louis C.K., and it seems like there's a lot of evidence against him. Certainly, there's a lot of people coming out saying that, like, they heard about it when it happened. There's 2 Facebook apologies from Louis C.K. to the women that are accusing him, which doesn't look good. That the New York Times reviewed and said looked pretty, you know, damning.
Okay, so you're gonna have to help me out here. I didn't have time to read up on the Louis C.K. stuff, so like fill me in. Like, what the fuck?
The main one that the New York Times focused on is 2 female comedians. Like, I think they were in their early 20s at the time. It was maybe 2005, I think. So, like,
okay,
or like 10 years ago, something like that. Maybe 2007. Don't quote me on that. It could be a different time. But the story is correct when I say that the 2 female comedians were on stage that act doing stand-up. Louis C.K. was in the building. It was at a hotel. He was watching them. Afterwards, he introduced themselves. They were starstruck type of thing. And he said, all the bars are closing. Let's go up to my room for a drink. So they all went up there, and basically once he got up there, like right when they sat down, he was like, hey, is it chill if I take my dick out? Like, allegedly. This is their story. And then, like, they were like, what? And then he did, and he got completely naked, and then they said they were, like, laughing because they didn't know what the hell was going on, but at the same time they were, like, screaming and covering their eyes, but they were kind of just, like, watching and laughing, but he, like jerked off till completion. And this is in the New York Times. They even say in the article, like, he ejaculated on his stomach, walked up completely naked, and then went into the bathroom, and then was like, hey, which one of you is which again? I forget. Like, that's all quoted from, like, what their story is, and that's the whole that's the whole story. And apparently there's evidence that they started telling a lot of their friends afterwards, and it came to the attention of Louis C.K.
came to.
Yeah. Louis C.K.'s manager found out about it and basically, like, called them, and he was like, hey, you need to stop talking to people about this. I'm not threatening you, but just stop or else, you know, type of thing. And he was, like, adamant that he's like, I'd never threatened anybody. Yeah, so all that's the main story, but then, like, 4 other people came forward and was like, yeah, he tried to jerk off in front of me too. Like, one lady, man. One lady says that he jerked off while she was on a phone call with him, which is kind of bizarre. I don't know how you prove that. But another person was like, he had an office, like, later on, much more recent, and she came in, he was like, hey, just don't leave until I finish, type of thing, behind the desk. So I mean, it's not great. It's definitely not awesome.
So I'm just going to say right now, and this shows you where my mind's at, the first thing I thought was, or one of the first things I thought after I got over the initial fucking shock of the fact that this shit's still happening, which, I mean, duh, of course it's happening because it's fucking Hollywood, but still, like, just the floodgate is, oh my god, please no Robert Downey Jr., please no Chris Evans, please no one from Marvel, for the love of God.
Yeah, my heart, wow, that would be bad.
Like, my heart couldn't handle it. I'm gonna be straight up, man.
Are you freaking out right now?
Honestly, dude, I was talking about it with some people at work today, and
would Robert Downey Jr. be the worst?
I would genuinely weep.
I think that would be the worst one, right? Because he's been in the most of, like, this whole MCU run.
It'd be him, and then Chadwick Boseman, who's playing Black Panther. Like.
Well, that would be the worst going forward. But for, like, the whole history of the franchise, I think it'd be him, or it would be maybe Captain America.
Yeah, Chris Evans.
Evans.
That would. Yeah. Chris Pratt would hurt a lot too. I would. That would. Really
you know what I have to say though? Like, the trend as far as these like men is, like, they're not cool. They're not good looking. Like I don't think this would ever come up with Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans because they're so good looking and like charming and attractive. You know, I don't think they, like, would ever Like they're like women are probably like swooning over them at the bars. He's never like gotten to a situation where he's like so desperate he like needs to do something super creepy to the point where it's like sexual misconduct or assault, you know?
Dude, I fucking hope not.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, because honestly, it's like
maybe John Favreau.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't handle it, man. Like my heart would genuinely break if I. Oh god, just even thinking about that makes me really depressed. But Louis C.K. hurts a lot because I've listened to his stand-ups dozens of times. I think the man comedically is, and they have the Night of Too Many Stars that he was supposed to appear on next week that Jon Stewart hosts every year. Pulls from that. Like, his career, like you said, Colin, his career's done. In the span of less than 20... I read these accusations 3 hours ago, and his shit's already off HBO Go, and HBO housed, like, all of his shit. And FX came out with a statement, like, 30 minutes ago saying, oh yeah, Louis, we don't know if we're just gonna pull that all together or what we're gonna do. I'm like, oh my god, like, his career's done. It's over. Fini. Yeah. It's fucking done.
That's the world we live in now. We just live in this social media driven, like, information is just, like, deposited to people the instant it happens. Like, no one's left out of the loop anymore. Like, there's no controlling these type of PR monstrosities. Like, even if anybody was ever proven innocent of any of these accusations, like, it wouldn't matter. Everyone's already, like, proven guilty in the court of public opinion, like, once one of these stories even comes out. So there's no, it doesn't even matter at this point if they did it or they didn't, and it's most likely that they all did it, but, like, that doesn't even matter at this point. Like, everyone's already convicted in the court of public opinion. It's over. Like, everyone's career's done.
Yeah. It's crazy, and honestly, man, I think that, like I said, I am so happy that we've talked about this, man. Social media is a double-edged sword. I mean, it's great that we can have, you know, these conversations, you know, through social media, and that you can connect with someone, you know, 5,000 miles away and be able to work through your grief and your pain with that person. But then what you just said, the court of public opinion, man, it don't fucking matter. I mean, if you're even in the wrong, you know, area, I mean, fuck, ask Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, if you're just even in the realm of maybe of them doing something wrong when it comes to domestic or sexual assault, like, you're fucked.
Right.
You know,
there's too many activist groups. There's too many people, like, there's just too many people at Twitter. Like, Twitter, just, like, everybody gets everything, and everybody has notifications now on their phones. So you don't even have to be, like, looking for it. You just get a notification being like, oh, hey, you know, so-and-so's accused of sexual assault. And I bet a lot of people look at that, and they don't even read a single word of anything, and they just go like, oh, man, that guy's a creep. Like, oh, I can't believe that guy, you know, probably raped someone, type of thing. Like, and it's that kind of mentality with that lack of, like, actual, like, knowledge of what's happening, the facts, like, not knowing the story. Like, and that's gotta be true. I'm sure that's true of a lot of people. And it's just, like, that's all that matters. Once that's in someone's head, it's like fucking Inception, man. Like Leonardo DiCaprio just put you to sleep. He went into your brain, and he just gave you that idea, and, like, that's that. Like, that's your idea now.
Great Inception reference.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I guess in closing, I would say, like, you look at someone like Kobe, who was accused, you know, of this.
I can't imagine that happening now with the age of social media. I mean, that would have been way different. Crazier.
Yeah, I mean, social media was around, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is now.
Yeah, maybe MySpace.
Yeah, I mean, Kobe fought his way back. I mean, mostly. I mean, let's face it, his brand. I mean, Kobe's doing fine.
Yeah, he did not suffer.
But you brought up a real good point. I don't think you can get away with that now. I think people are like, But what I would tell people is don't be so quick to jump to judgment. Like, I know it's hard, and I know on instinct we go, you know, because you don't want to be wrong, you know, and so people, you know, usually it seems like want to go like, oh man, they're guilty.
Yeah.
Like you do, and I struggle with it too. Like, admittedly, I think we need to pump the brakes on that line of thinking and realize, look, it is still, or it should be, innocent until proven guilty. So, look, I'm not standing up for Kevin Spacey. I think he did it. Louis C.K., honestly, I'm like 99.9% sure he did it. Harvey Weinstein damn sure did it because he's a fucking pig. But we do need to make sure that we keep in mind that these are accusations for the time being. But yeah, man, I mean, between this is crazy. Last quick thing I would say before I kind of throw it back to you. All the respect in the world. If there's any silver lining, it's my nigga C Tates. He had a movie coming out like through the Weinstein Company, and he flat out pulled the movie, and they were like saying it was going to be like a big Oscar push movie or a big award season darling. He's like, yep, I'm pulling it because I don't want the Weinsteins like distributing it. I'm like, wow, that is ballsy. And Kevin Smith, I feel bad for Kevin Smith because I think every movie he's done, with the exception of yoga shit, has been distributed by the Weinstein Company, like Clerks 2, Clerks Mallrats.
Yeah, Miramax, all Miramax and Weinstein.
Yeah, and so honestly, I felt bad for Kevin Smith. Like as shitty of a director as he's become when it comes to this movie.
Well, I think it's the same with Quentin Tarantino too, right?
But I don't know if you saw, but Tarantino apparently had an idea or at least knew something about that. So
right.
And that's a whole nother conversation.
Well, are you saying just keep your eye on him, keep your eye on his name on Google?
Tarantino's a weird fucking dude. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I remember things coming out that was a little weird about him and Uma Thurman, because he has Uma Thurman in a lot of his movies, and clearly it couldn't have been that bad because she kept saying, yes, I'll come back and do your movies. But I think he had just something weird about like women's feet. But I don't think it was ever creepy enough that like it ever became a thing. But who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like if you're in Hollywood, man, you better be on your best behavior.
Yeah, I didn't. Allegedly, by the way, I didn't say allegedly. Yeah, this whole podcast is allegedly.
Yes, everyone's been accused of is alleged. We do not have any convictions or anything. It's just to cover ass so Kevin Spacey doesn't try to sue us or anything like that. It's alleged, sir, but I'm not 14, so I have nothing to worry about. But anyways,
well done.
Thank you. I honestly, man, like, audience, I'm sorry this wasn't funny. I mean, not a whole lot of joking when it comes to sexual.
No, but it's just not a funny topic.
Yeah. With that said, guys, I would love to get people's thoughts on this because like I posted something on Facebook about it, and I had a couple people private message me going, "Wow, that's so cold." Like, that you don't feel anything for the victims. I'm like, really? Come on. Like, really? That's what you took away from it? I'm just saying, don't jump to judgment. That's all I'm fucking saying. And if anyone has gone through this, oh my god, my heart genuinely goes out to you. And I can't even imagine, to be totally honest. It's heartbreaking and my deepest sympathies. But, yeah, sorry, dude. Anything else on your mind?
No, I'll just end with this. I hope this is a positive thing in the long run. I hope all these things that have come to light about these powerful men in Hollywood, help translate to a different culture among the powerful in Hollywood. So, I hope this becomes a good thing in the long run. I'm super disappointed that this happened to a few of the people that I really liked, as I mentioned before. So, that's it, man. It's a bummer. It's a downer of a week for sure. A couple weeks.
Yeah, man. But I promise this weekend we'll have more positive stuff up this. Well, we are reviewing Daddy's Home 2 this weekend, so God help me. That will be a nice palate cleanser for me to be more upset. But But guys, let us know what you're thinking about all this, because I've talked to friends that have like who are actors and artists, and they're just fucking like, what the fuck is going on? So I would love to get people's thoughts on this. You can follow us here on SoundCloud. You can follow us on Podbean, iTunes, and Google Music at The Real Pineapple. You can like us on Facebook at The Real Pineapple. Follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. You can follow our bud Scott. Scott, we love you, buddy. At Nearman the First. And you can follow Colin on Twitter at
The Real O'Neill.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll have reviews up this weekend for Stranger Things Season 2. Whoop, whoop. We'll have... so excited to talk about that. We'll have a review up to for Murder on the Orient Express. And then we'll have a review up for Daddy's Home 2, as I mentioned as well. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.